Hey everyone, on this episode of EdTech, we're going to be talking about laser projectors and recycling, mass notification, and the most dreaded thing of all, working with faculty and helping them to use the classroom tech. All this on EdTech.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is EdTech, episode 61, No Lightbulb.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Extron Electronics.
This is EdTech, the monthly higher ed podcast. I'm your host, Bill O'Donnell. I'm joined with Ernie Bailey, as well as Rob Raspberry. How are you two gentlemen?
I'm doing great.
Fantastic.
All right. So, first up on the list is from commercial integrators, and it's in response to how to keep your school safe. And there's 3 questions about school security technology. This is one of these things where it's, it really kind of, if you read the article, it talks about things where it's mass notification, emergency contact, and things like that. Rob, I'll go with you on this one.
Okay.
At the very least, normally with some of the stuff we have, at least on our campus, we have ones where there's a relay control from the fire, fire alarm system and everything else, to where if say hypothetically, I'm in the gym, in the cardiovascular room or something like that. Someone pulls the fire alarm. The relay from the fire alarm system goes to close. That automatically shuts off the music system, which, if you're like anyone like me in the gym, they suddenly hear the music stop. It's like, uh-oh, what's going on? What's up? That's at least one form of mass notification. The other one would be actually having automated messages like "please stay inside" or "active shooter," things like that.
Yeah.
Have you guys had to do any kind of back end prep as far as like campus safety or campus police, things like that, or is it really more of the, well, we set up things to where we have the capability of it. Eventually, if they need to, we'll wire it in. Here you go.
I know that part of a number of departments on campus have gone through some type of training exercises.
Mm-hmm.
It's not deployed, campus-wide, but security is very involved with that. A lot of our notifications are, text and email, and it actually works pretty well. And in addition, you also, the campus security really is their police.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also, another step advantage that they have is that they are actually police and they don't have to call the Philadelphia police, although in case like an active shooter, of course they would.
Yeah.
But these guys are pretty much ready to go from the get-go.
Okay.
My team per se has not had a whole lot of involvement with that, but we do get emails and notifications and best practices and that kind of thing.
Okay. Ernie, how about you guys in terms of the mass notification, or is it like I said, in our case we've set the hooks for these things?
Okay. We have in a couple of rooms, but there hasn't been interest on the other side to do anything with it, so we don't really mess with it.
Mm-hmm.
Our campus policy is that a completely separate audio system is put in, hallways and in classrooms. And it's louder than anything we can do, anyway. We get complaints when, they accidentally page a patient back to his room and it goes through all the classrooms because someone hit the wrong button. That's, we get that. Like, we're a hospital larger than a school.
Yeah.
So a lot of that kind of thing happens. Digital signage plays a big part in our mass notification as well as text messages. Neither one of those come through my department, so I don't deal with those.
No, and I get that.
Other than we're contacted, hey, did you hear the announcement in your buildings? That's.
Yeah, in some cases, and believe me, I get it. It's one of those, oh, you want everyone to hit everything. Well, yeah, and sometimes not to pull the Occam's razor thing, but sometimes the most easiest way to notify everyone, you're right, it's through the phone calls, it's through the text messaging. Sometimes, as I say, I think it's the, how do you hit folks the quickest? phone, text. I'm going to go and say digital signage, simply because at that point you're hitting most of the folks who are traveling. If they're in the classrooms, yeah, I'm pretty sure if you suddenly heard 40 phones suddenly all buzz at once, you're like,
Right.
all right, something's up.
I mean, we have played on our end with how we make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, what are the different things, you know, we send to a projector or to a control system that puts it into that mode. So we know how to do it if we're asked to.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't asked us to do anything yet. When we've tried to bring up the conversation, they say we got everything covered.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So next step after that is, let's see here. We have, this comes to us from AV Magazine, and specifically this is from Alan Garrett of Casio explains why the AV community has to pay attention to recycling, and specifically why they should care about mercury. Now, specifically in this case, and I know a lot of us, Rob and Ernie, you can definitely agree with me on this one. A lot of us have been going over to laser projectors, mostly because, well, bulbs die, or lamps. Sorry, lamps die.
Lamps die, and lamps are expensive.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
And they only die at the wrong time.
Yes,
that's correct. That's optimal failure. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's the thing where I can understand where they're coming from. The other end of it, and this is me playing the devil's advocate. Well, it is tried and true technology, and in some cases, when you just got to get a room up and going, yes, you're still going to go with the Epson Powerlight Special, and it'll get the job done. So moving from that, Rob, have you guys been switching more over to laser projectors, or is it just you kind of say, oh, hey, by the way, here are the following rooms that got added to your arsenal. Update them as you see.
Yeah. So the two big initiatives are, any projector that we're replacing, we're replacing it with a laser version. And then also another one of our initiatives is to put displays in the smaller classrooms or collaboration spaces as opposed to projectors. So those are the two things. So yes.
And it's one of those things. And Ernie, you guys have been, as I say, all right, so I will tell you guys this just little funny bit on this one. Some of our install folks have just been kind of we were just kind of rolling along, and we're primarily an NEC house, and they said, oh yeah, the 622, yeah, we don't make that anymore. The 653, that's the replacement model. We went, okay, we'll go and get that. And our programmer started messing with things and looked at it, and he's like, hey, I'm coding this thing and trying to get the lamp hours. And he's like, yeah, and he went, well, it says 20,000. I went, well, that's a hell of a lamp. And then we thought about it, and we're like, we bought a
light bulb, ding.
Yeah.
No light bulb.
No light bulb.
Yeah, yes, right.
Yeah. And it was one of those things we were looking and went, oh, well, that's going to be easy for maintenance. Yay. Especially because in this case, this is one of the tiered stadium seating classrooms, which as well as I do. Oh yeah, let's get a ladder up there. Yeah. One of the wonderful 12-footers that you're playing an acrobatic act on. I'm going, well, that makes life easy. So yeah, and like I said, Ernie, as I say, I'm sure you guys have been switching over, and it's kind of funny. We talk about this in the sense of, we're trying to be better about the article itself is saying try to be more concerned about mercury. Meanwhile, all of us are going, yeah, mercury, nothing. I don't have to get up on the ladder and change this thing out.
Yeah, we had some rooms we had to build scaffolding to change lamps in. And they were the tiered rooms. So you had to remember how to set up the scaffolding so it ended up level. So we're excited about moving those to lasers. We replaced 40 plus projectors last year. And this upcoming year, our year starts in July. I've got a request to replace another 35, 45 more in my funding request. So if we do that, we will be almost out of the lamp projector business, and there was, the question is, what do we do with the old projectors? Has come across, I've seen before. And we may deploy them into low use rooms where, a lamp may last 4 to 5 years. It'll last until they can come up with funding, or we can come up with funding for a laser in that room. with one lamp. We have a disposal system for our lamps. Basically, we have a teaching lab associated with our academic program that we work with most of the time, and they have all that disposal stuff worked out. So we take them, or we even take them batteries. We take the batteries, we take the lamps, anything like that. When the projector is ready to be through being used on campus, we have a program we have to use called marketing and redistribution, where it's available for other state agencies and schools for a certain amount of time. Then it's opened up for sale to the public. So we don't throw them away. We have to recycle them, basically.
So there's not some guy named Yuri in the back, like working a smelter and like shoving it, working it down. No. Okay. All right. Well, maybe my school. No, we don't actually do that. In our case, we do actually have. We don't normally put our equipment out for sale or put it up for second. How should I put it? For seconds. It's really for us. We've used it to the point where, in some cases, there's already discoloration on the prism, which some folks would say, "Well, Bill, that's a lack of maintenance," and I go, "No, when that's just age. That just happens." But in our case, we actually do go through a proper recycling program and everything like that. I've actually caught some of our student workers once or twice where they're like, "Oh, I'm just going to toss it out." I'm like, "No, don't do that." And that's because they're getting ready to throw it in the box and just whomp. And I'm like, "Guys, that's a high pressure mercury lamp. Well, yeah, it's broken." I'm like, "Well, congrats. It still has to get properly disposed of." It's, I'm like, do you want to have mercury in your fish? No. Well, that's where you can get it. So, we try to instill that, and it's one of those, like, kind of a well duh thing, but at the same time, it's like, guys, you gotta be a little bit more on the ball about these things.
Yeah, so I was just going to sort of jump in there, Bill, and basically say that there's a lot of green consciousness on, at Drexel, and they tell you proper ways to dispose of materials, and certain things, even with computers, you have to do it a certain way. And even go so far as to even sort of make it a little fun. They have these days that you actually have to get rid of your recycled items, and a department can win something if they have a certain amount of pounds or this or that. So they sort of try to make it a little fun to get you involved with it.
Yeah, the other things, I know Crestron would do it every now and then. They would do the AV trash for cash program, in which there was, I think in their case, it was really more of like, oh, hey, trade in some of this equipment, we'll use it as a credit, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Now, as far as like what they did afterwards, well, that's on them. But in all honesty, though, if you've ever been to Crestron's campus, believe me, I'm pretty sure they would know how to desolder and take everything apart and be compliant with rid of hazardous substances. So yeah. Now, finally, the fun one that Ernie and you, as well as I, deal with on a daily basis. This is from AV Network magazine, and that is training professors on how to use classroom technology. Specifically, it's how to train faculty on how to use classroom technology, because it's always easy.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: it's not a bad thing. It's a lot of it does have to deal with. A lot of times you have faculty who are, as Ernie best put it, yes, very seasoned. Which is a lot better than the term I would use, which would be, you know what, we're on professional airwaves here, so I'll keep it out of that. But those are, let's put it this way: there are folks who are of a younger generation that want to use these things, and they're very adept because they've kind of grown up using interfaces. Now there are other faculty who it's like, well, I have my teaching method, and I go the stage route, and I'm, this is how I go. I'll say this, from our perspective, we try to do a lot of lunch and learns with folks, mostly because it's a lot easier to chat with folks because they go, oh, all right, well, this seems kind of informal, okay. And, as you chat with them and you talk about it, the end goal is, and I'm not trying to slit my own throat with this one, but my end goal really is I want the faculty to just go in and be like, yeah, okay, I'm good with this. I can use this. I can go to town, and cool. The day when I don't get a phone call is the day I go, this is a good day. It's it makes it sound like I'm the Maytag repairman, but let's put it this way. Yeah, there's their job security in that. Yes. Does that also mean that it's a poorly designed system? Yes.
Yeah.
Because you can make the $5 million Ferrari, but if you give it to a guy who doesn't know how to drive stick, congrats, you've made a paperweight.
Yeah.
So
the philosophy I go with here, Bill, is that when Dr. Jones is walking from his office to the classroom, I want him thinking about what he's going to be teaching.
Yep.
He's teaching the future healthcare providers. I don't want the student to not be able to take care of me when they're my doctor in 20 years because the projector was out of focus or the microphone didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want him wondering which button do I push in this room. We try to keep them consistent. And at the same time, I want when, John or Susie are walking out of the dorm to go to the classroom, I want them to be thinking about, what their homework assignment had been, what did they read, what questions do they have for the instructor, not, am I going to be able to hear today? Our job is to make sure that it's user-friendly and they walk in, this instructor teaches naturally.
Okay. Rob, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so my landscape on this has sort of changed. I think we mentioned this the last time, where a whole bunch of classrooms are centrally managed and now sort of been put into my hands. And my philosophy is when we had a number of classrooms here in the building where there's IT, and they sort of changed that over. When we did that, we made note of who the faculty were, what classes were being done, and especially made sure that during those first couple of weeks, we had a tech ready to troubleshoot in the classroom, sort of get the instructor familiar. And even beyond that, we would set up a hands-on meeting. So they would come in before the class actually happened for the semester, get sort of hands-on on the tech and get acclimated that way. Mm-hmm. Still isn't 100% foolproof. You still have people that just don't know how to turn anything on and will call you on a weekly basis complaining about the technology. But, you do your best to be as inclusive as possible. The other thing is and one thing that we're going to be putting forward is, having a landing page that basically has how to use general tech in a classroom. Now, the only issue that we have is we don't have a lot of standards here across the board yet. Mm-hmm. And this is something you have to get together with different people in different engineering school or business school and this and say, what kind of tech do you have? What can we do as a group to better, educate our instructors as to use the tech? Mm-hmm. And fortunately, naturally, there's a progression with the younger faculty coming in, and the people who sort of deal with technology a little more, it's becoming a little easier. Mm-hmm. But there's always those few exceptions.
Fair enough. So that being said, Rob, as always, is always a pleasure to have you. I know you have to jolt on out of here and everything, so I will let you be. Ernie, there's just, as I say, just a quick thing. In terms of working with your faculty, as Rob put it and everything, do you notice that some of the younger faculty are a little bit more streamlined about stuff, and they go, yeah, no, it's like an iPad. I got it. We're good.
Yeah, exactly. I've got some professors who still, want to use chalk, and that's the way you teach. And I've got others that lecture from their iPad. Walk around the room and interact with the students. But.
Yeah, there are some folks that just, as you put it, they're so well seasoned that you don't change them, they change you.
That's right.
That's all I'm going to put on that for that one. So sorry, folks. It's one of those things like your brain processes that for a minute and you're going, wait, chalk? What?
Yeah.
I dealt with that in high school. No, it's there. It is what it is. So, gentlemen, I just wanted to say thank you. Once again, Ernie, where can we find you at?
Find me on LinkedIn.
Okay. And Mr. Raspberry, same deal?
LinkedIn as well. We're all linked together.
Indeed. Oh, look at that. There you go. All right, folks. Thanks.